Okay, so today we're just going to look at proteins. To start with, as with all large biomolecules, it is made up of simple units, monomers, which are then joined together to make a large molecule. In this case, the monomer of a protein is called an amino acid. The elements in proteins are similar to carbohydrates in that they contain carbon, hydrogen and oxygen. All proteins also contain nitrogen. Some proteins contain other molecules such as sulfur and phosphorus as well. So what is an amino acid? Well, you start with a carbon. Carbon, being in group 4, needs to share 4 electrons to get a full outer shell, so it always forms 4 bonds. So I'm going to draw 4 bonds there on my carbon. If you look at the name, it's amino acid. An amino group is an NH2 group, so 1 nitrogen, 2 hydrogens. An acid group is a carbon bonded onto an oxygen and an OH group. So that's your acid group over on this side. So this is your amino group and this is your acid group around the central carbon. Apart from that, you always have a hydrogen which bonds onto the carbon, and you have what we call the R group. Now the R group just represents a variable group. In the most simple amino acid, this R group is hydrogen. So for example, in the case of glycine, which is the simplest amino acids, I would write it as hydrogen, hydrogen. The acid group, which for short I'm writing CO2H, which as you can see is the same as COOH, and the NH2, which in this case I'm going to draw it spread out so you can see what it looks like when it's spread out. So that's your basic amino acid. This group here varies. So depending on the amino acid, it can be hydrogen, it could be CH3, it could be much more complicated. There are about 20 amino acids found in nature. So once you've got these amino acids, what happens next? Well, you have to start joining the amino acids together. So how do you join 2 amino acids together? Well, in this case, I'll just clear that off. What you do is you put 2 amino acids next to each other. So there's my CH, R, NH2, C, O, OH. And I'm going to put it next to another one. So C, NH2, and I'm actually going to draw this one spread out to make it easier to show how it works. There's my H, my R group, and my acid group CO2H. What happens is 1 hydrogen and 1 oxygen, the OH group, so this little part here, join together to form water, break off, so that then the carbon and the nitrogen bond. So you end up with here at the middle, carbon directly bonding onto nitrogen, that hydrogen from here being left up there, there's your double bond O, and then that goes to the rest of the molecule. So there's your CH, CO2H, R group, and over here your CH, R group, and NH2 group. This whole section in the middle here is the bond that's joining them, and that is called a peptide bond. Peptide bond. So what you now have is 2 amino acids joined together, forms a dipeptide. When you get lots joining together, it forms a polypeptide, and when the polypeptide folds up, that forms your protein. Proteins are super important. They have important roles, for example, in structure, such as collagen in your skin, keratin in your hair. They form enzymes which control the rate of reaction of all the reactions in your body. They form transport molecules such as hemoglobin in your blood. So they're really, really important throughout the body.